Where are you watching us from? Write in the comments.
Have you ever caught someone in a lie at the exact moment they thought their secret was safe? I thought I knew my wife until the night of our engagement party, when I found out she had betrayed me in the worst possible way, just hours before the celebration. But fate had a cruel sense of humor, because at the very moment I was standing face to face with her lover, she called me, and I decided to answer. The lights glowed warm and golden, reflecting off the expensive crystal glasses. Laughter and clinking silverware filled the hall. It was the kind of night I had dreamed about for years. Friends and family gathered, celebrating something that was supposed to last forever. My engagement to Emily. I stood near the center of the ballroom, drink in hand, watching her move effortlessly through the crowd. She was stunning in a dark emerald dress, her blonde hair cascading in perfect waves. Every step she took, every smile she flashed, it was like she was made to be admired. And I admired her. God, I loved her. I had spent years building something stable, something real. I worked long hours, saved up, and finally reached a point where I could give her the life she always talked about. The nice apartment, the vacations, the expensive dinners. I wanted to be the man she could count on. Tonight was supposed to be a milestone, a memory we'd look back on decades from now, laughing about how drunk Uncle Roger got or how my mom cried too much over the toast. But something wasn't right. Liam, my best friend since childhood, stood off to the side, gripping his glass too tight. He wasn't celebrating. His eyes kept flicking toward Emily, and every time she turned his way, he looked away. Tension radiated from him, sharp and obvious. "Hey," I said, nudging him. "What's up with you?" Liam didn't answer at first. He just exhaled slowly, swirling the amber liquid in his glass. "You sure about her, Jake?" he asked, low enough that no one else could hear. The question hit me like a gut punch. What kind of question is that? I laughed, but it came out forced. Liam's jaw tightened. He hesitated, looking like he wanted to say more. But then Emily's voice rang out over the crowd. "Let's play a game," she called, lifting her champagne glass high. Excited murmurs rippled through the guests. Someone suggested truth or dare, a harmless party game. Or so I thought. We all gathered in a circle near the dance floor, some sitting, some standing. The energy was high, light-hearted. A few innocent dares at people doing ridiculous things. Someone had to dance on a table. Another had to text their ex. It was all in good fun. Then it was Emily's turn. She smiled mischievously. "Dare." Chloe, my cousin, leaned forward, her red lips curving into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Show us your last 5 messages with your personal trainer, Alex." Laughter broke out. A few people whistled. It was a joke. At first, everyone knew Emily worked out religiously. She had hired a trainer about 6 months ago, a young, fit guy. I never thought twice about it. But Emily's reaction was off. She froze for half a second before laughing. "Come on, that's private." Chloe shrugged. "It's just messages. Unless you have something to hide." The air changed. Emily waved her hand. "Oh, stop it. I'm not playing along with this one." And then, as if the universe had a cruel sense of timing, her phone buzzed on the table. The screen lit up with a message. "Your lips were so sweet. Can't wait to taste them again tonight." Silence. Complete, crushing silence. I felt my heartbeat in my ears. My fingers went numb around my glass. Emily grabbed her phone and locked the screen, but it was too late. Everyone saw it. A few guests gasped. Someone whispered something I didn't catch. Liam swore under his breath. And Chloe just leaned back, her expression unreadable. Emily opened her mouth, closed it. She was scrambling, trying to come up with something, anything. But what excuse could she make? I didn't move, didn't say a word. I just stared at her. The silence stretched, heavy and unbearable. The air in the room had shifted from celebratory to something suffocating. Every pair of eyes was locked onto Emily. Her fingers tightened around her phone, her knuckles turning white. She forced a nervous laugh, but it was thin, fragile. "Okay, this isn't funny," she said, her voice higher than usual. "Who set this up?" No one answered, because no one had. My mind raced, but my body stayed still. I didn't blink. I didn't speak. I just watched her every detail, every twitch in her expression, every forced smile that didn't reach her eyes. She was lying. I knew it, and she knew I knew it. Then Chloe moved. Calmly. Too calmly. She pulled out her phone, unlocked it, and started tapping. "Don't worry, Jake," she said smoothly. "I already checked." Emily's breath hitched. Chloe turned the screen toward me, and there it was, a set of images, time-stamped. Emily, stepping out of a hotel room, her dress wrinkled, the top buttons undone, her hair slightly messy. The time-stamp? Just hours before this party. I clenched my jaw so hard my teeth hurt. My pulse pounded in my ears, but my face didn't betray a single emotion. I had spent years learning how to control my reactions, how to stay composed no matter what. But inside, something was shattering. Chloe swiped to the next piece of evidence. A voice recording. Emily's voice. "I'll be home soon, babe. My fiancé has no idea." A hushed murmur spread through the crowd. Someone gasped. Someone else whispered, "No way." Emily's breathing grew erratic. She was panicking now. "Jake," she started, stepping toward me. This isn't what it looks like." I raised a hand, not to touch her, not to hold her back, just to make her stop talking, because I didn't trust myself to speak. She stared at me, her green eyes wide, desperate. I could see it happening, the gears in her head turning, trying to find a way out of this. I knew Emily. I knew how she operated. She'd cry, she'd beg. She'd spin some ridiculous story. And I knew some people would believe her. But not me. And not Chloe. Chloe tilted her head, watching Emily like a cat watches a mouse in a trap. "Should I keep going?" Chloe asked, her voice so sweet it made my skin crawl. Emily's eyes snapped toward her. "You need to stop." Chloe just smiled. "I thought you had nothing to hide?" Emily's breathing quickened. Her hand gripped my wrist, but I didn't react. "Jake," she whispered, her voice trembling now. "I made a mistake. That's all. Please, let's talk in private." I stared down at her, the woman I was going to marry, the woman I had planned a future with, and now, I didn't even recognize her. I gently pulled my hand away. Emily made a choked sound in the back of her throat, and that's when I knew. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. I stood there, staring at the woman I thought I knew, the woman I was supposed to marry. The room still hummed with low whispers, shifting eyes, people pretending they weren't hanging on to every second of this disaster. Emily's breath came in quick, shallow bursts. She wasn't crying yet, but I could see the panic creeping into her face. She knew she was losing control. I didn't say a word. I just looked at her. She hated silence. "Jake, I don't know what to say," she stammered, forcing out a nervous laugh, like she was still trying to play this off. "Try the truth," Chloe said, arms crossed, her phone still in her hand. Emily shot her a sharp look, but it was laced with fear. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. "How long?" Emily flinched. "Jake, it wasn't." "How long?" I repeated, my tone sharper now. Emily swallowed hard. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "A few times," she whispered. Chloe scoffed. "Oh, come on, Emily. Months." Emily's lips pressed together, her eyes darting to me, then to the crowd around us. She wasn't thinking about how to make this right. She was thinking about how to make herself look less guilty. I reached for Chloe's phone and scrolled through the messages. I forced myself to stay calm, but my fingers gripped the device a little too tightly. There were dozens of texts, and they weren't just recent. They stretched back for months. Emily, I hate sneaking around, but I can't help myself when I see you. Alex, we just have to hold out a little longer. He's too good to you. He won't suspect a thing. Emily, he's been so busy with work. It's easy. And then, Alex, you deserve better than him. Just a few more months, and you can file for divorce. I kept scrolling, my hand steady, my breathing controlled, even though everything inside me felt like a storm ripping through my chest. Emily wasn't just cheating. She was using me. She was going to marry me, secure her comfortable life, take everything I had built, and then, when she was ready, she was going to leave. Her messages to Alex were full of passion, excitement, desire. Her messages to me? They were calculated, careful, a means to an end. I clenched my jaw and set the phone down. I lifted my gaze to Emily. She saw the change in my expression. The last bit of warmth in me had shut off, and she knew. She knew she had lost me. Jake, she whispered, reaching for my hand again. I stepped back. She let out a small, broken sound, like she was truly realizing the weight of this moment. Please, she pleaded, tears finally welling in her eyes. It was a mistake. A mistake. Chloe cut in, laughing under her breath. No, Emily. A mistake is one bad decision. This, she gestured around the room. This is a choice. Emily turned back to me, her hands trembling. Jake, I love you. I had spent years loving this woman, and she had spent months lying to my face. I reached for my hand. The engagement ring still sat there, a symbol of the future I thought we were building together. Slowly, deliberately, I slid it off my finger. Emily's face crumbled. I set the ring on the table between us. It felt heavy now, worthless. Emily let out a shaky breath, her shoulders trembling. Jake, please. I didn't respond. I just turned and walked away. I walked away from the table, away from Emily, away from the people whispering behind their hands, their eyes darting between me and the wreckage of what was supposed to be the happiest night of my life. I didn't stop, not when Emily called my name, not when she ran after me. I felt her fingers grab my wrist, desperate, shaking. Jake, please. Just let me explain. I turned slowly, looked down at her, really looked at her. Her mascara was smudged, her lipstick slightly faded, her hair still perfectly styled, the same way it had been when she stepped out of that hotel room with Alex. I made a mistake, she choked out, her voice barely above a whisper. I was stupid, I was selfish, but I love you. I didn't answer. Not yet. I just studied her, watching, calculating. Because the thing about Emily, she was good at this. She knew how to twist words into something believable, something softer, something that made her the victim. I used to love that about her, how she could talk her way out of anything. Now, I felt nothing. I took my phone out of my pocket, pulled up the messages again, flipped the screen so she could see them. Her lips parted, her breath hitched, her own words staring back at her. Alex's name at the top, their little long-term plan written out in full detail. Her fingers curled into fists at her sides. Jake, you were never going to marry me, were you? The words came out calm, too calm. She sucked in a breath, blinking rapidly. But there was no good answer, and she knew it. You were going to marry me, enjoy the money, the house, the vacations, and then what? I tilted my head. A year? Maybe 2? And then you'd leave? She shook her head furiously. No, it wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. Her eyes welled up. I didn't mean for it to happen. That made me snap. I laughed. Short, sharp, bitter. Oh, so you just tripped and fell into his hotel room? Over and over again? For months? She flinched. I took another step back, needing space. Needing distance from the scent of her perfume, the sound of her voice, the lie of her touch. The guests had gone mostly quiet now. They were watching, pretending not to, but the tension in the air was thick. Liam stood off to the side, arms crossed, his jaw clenched. Chloe, she just looked satisfied. And Emily, she looked trapped. "Jake, please," she whispered again, stepping closer. Stop. That was all I said. One word. And she did. Her lips trembled. I reached into my pocket, felt the smooth band of the engagement ring I had just taken off. I turned my palm over and dropped it. It landed on the glass table between us with a soft clink. Emily broke. She let out a quiet sob, covering her mouth with one hand. Her shoulders curled inward, like she was folding in on herself. I stepped out of the ballroom, into the cold night air. The distant hum of the city felt muted, drowned out by the pounding in my head. I pulled in a deep breath, filling my lungs. Emily had followed me earlier, begging, lying. This time, she didn't. She knew there was nothing left to say. The engagement party, the one I had spent months planning, the one that was supposed to be a night full of love, laughter, and celebration, was over. But I wasn't done. Not yet. I leaned against my car, phone in hand, scrolling through the messages again. Every single one. I should have stopped reading. I should have just walked away. But something in me needed to see the full extent of the betrayal. And then I saw it. A text from just last week. "Alex, I know you're impatient, babe, but just a little longer. Once he's locked in, you can start moving your money over. Emily, I just don't want to wait anymore. I want a life with you, Alex, and you'll have it. Just get through the wedding. Divorce him in a year. Play it smart. Emily, I know. I just feel guilty sometimes. Alex, he's lucky to even have you. If he were enough, you wouldn't be with me. Emily, you always know what to say to make me feel better." I felt my vision go sharp, too sharp, like every detail of the world had come into painful focus. She had planned on bleeding me dry. I tightened my grip on the phone. I could almost see them together, laughing at me, talking about their future while I was here. Blindly in love, thinking she was my forever. I opened my banking app. We had a joint account. Because I had trusted her. Because I had been a fool. The balance flashed on the screen. Too much money, my money. Money I had worked my ass off for. Money I had been saving for our future. A future she never wanted. I went straight to transfers. Selected the joint account. Transferred every last cent back into my personal account. Hit confirm. And just like that, Emily lost her golden parachute. I didn't feel relief. Just cold, calculated satisfaction. I wasn't done. I scrolled to my wedding planner's number. Typed out a simple message. Cancel everything. No wedding. No refunds. Sent. I scrolled to my landlord's number. The lease is under my name. I want her out. Effective immediately. Sent. One by one. I started undoing everything. She had built her future on the assumption that I'd be too blind, too in love, too stupid to ever see her for what she was. She was wrong. And now, I was going to burn every bridge she thought she had, starting with Alex. The night air felt sharper, now colder. Or maybe that was just me. I stood by my car, phone in hand, executing my plan with surgical precision. Emily's future, the one she thought she had so perfectly laid out, was disintegrating. The wedding? Gone. The joint account? Drained. Her place in my apartment? Vanishing soon. And now, it was time for Alex. I slid into my car, gripping the wheel tighter than I needed to. My pulse was steady, my breath slow. But inside, I was ice cold. I pulled up the address. Alex's gym. He was working the evening session. Perfect. I drove in silence, the city lights streaking past. No music, no distractions, just the steady rhythm of my thoughts. clicking into place like pieces of a puzzle. By the time I pulled into the parking lot, my mind was clear. The gym was still open, bright lights spilling onto the pavement. Through the glass windows, I spotted him. Alex. Tall, fit, smug. He had no idea what was coming. I got out, phone still in hand, and walked through the doors. The smell of sweat and rubber flooring filled the space, the low hum of weights clinking and treadmills whirring in the background. He was at the front desk, talking to a client. I walked straight up to him and set my phone on the counter. Face up, messages wide open. His messages. Emily's messages. The proof of everything. Alex's smile froze. His eyes flicked down. His face drained of color. And then he looked up at me. "Are these your words?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. A muscle twitched in his jaw. He glanced around, like he was checking who else was nearby. A few gym goers lifted weights in the background. A receptionist typed at her computer, oblivious. But no one was paying attention to us. Alex licked his lips, forcing a half smile. "Look, man." I put my phone on speaker, dialed a number, and let it ring. Emily. She picked up after 3 rings, her voice frantic. "Jake, please let's talk." I was wrong. Alex went dead pale. I watched him, watched the exact moment he realized. His body went rigid. His hands curled into fists at his sides. Emily's voice kept going, desperate, pleading. I don't care about Alex. It was a mistake. You're the one I love." Alex's jaw clenched. I smirked. "Oh, we're talking, sweetheart," I said smoothly. "You wanted the truth? Here it is." I lifted my gaze to Alex, held it, and let Emily dig her own grave. Alex stood frozen, his face pale under the harsh gym lights. The phone between us was still on speaker, Emily's panicked breathing crackling through the line. "Jake, please," she begged, her voice trembling. "I don't care about Alex. It was a mistake. You're the one I love." I didn't react. I didn't need to, because the real show that was happening right in front of me. I watched Alex's face as the words sank in, watched the way his shoulders tensed, the way his jaw twitched, the way his hands curled into tight fists at his sides. He finally understood what Emily was. She wasn't just a liar. And right now, she was running back to me. Alex swallowed hard, shifting his stance, trying to hold on to whatever confidence he had left. "Turn it off," he muttered under his breath, glancing around to see if anyone else was listening. I didn't. Emily kept talking. "Jake, I'll do anything. Just meet me somewhere, alone." I huffed a quiet laugh. Of course. She wanted to get me away from everyone, spin a softer version of the truth, turn her betrayal into something complicated. Not happening. Alex finally snapped. "She's lying to you, man," he said sharply. "She told me she loved me. She..." "Oh, I know." His mouth snapped shut. I cocked my head, studying him like he was some pathetic little lab rat. "You thought you were special, huh?" Alex's nostrils flared. She told me we had a future." I let that hang in the air for a second, let him sit in it. Then I turned the phone back toward him. More texts. Ones from just this afternoon. Ones where she promised me a lifetime together. His face cracked, the same way mine had just hours ago. "Good." Alex turned back to the phone, his expression shifting into something sharp. "Emily, tell him the truth." Silence. Then, "What?" His nostrils flared. "Tell him you love me. Say it right now." The hesitation was everything. Emily didn't answer. Not right away. And that was enough. I saw it happen, the exact moment Alex realized. Emily had played both of us. Used both of us. And now, she was trying to save herself. Alex let out a bitter laugh, shaking his head. "You're unbelievable." Emily's voice finally cracked through the speaker, shaking now. "Alex, please, He hung up. The call cut out. The gym suddenly felt quieter. Alex exhaled, dragging a hand down his face. For the first time since I walked in, he looked defeated. I leaned in slightly, just enough so he could hear me over the hum of the gym. You thought you were the exception. My voice was low. You were just another idiot with a gym membership. I picked up my phone, opened my email, and pulled up the corporate office for his gym. No words, no threats, just the attachment, all the evidence, the messages, the photos, the audio. I hovered over the send button. Alex's eyes widened. His whole body went rigid. Don't, he breathed. I tilted my head. Why not? He swallowed. Come on, man. Don't ruin my career over her. She's not worth it. Now he got it. Now he saw her for what she was. I smiled. You're right. I hit send anyway. Alex's face went completely blank. You son of a... I pocketed my phone and turned away. I didn't need to hear the rest. His life was already burning. I stepped out of the gym, the cold night air hitting my face like a slap. It felt clean. Behind me, Alex was probably still standing there, stunned, furious, helpless. Did I care? Not even a little. I had spent too long being the nice guy. The guy who forgave, who overlooked, who trusted. Never again. I walked across the parking lot, my phone still warm in my pocket from sending that final email, the one that would end Alex's career. But before I could even reach my car, my phone buzzed again. Emily. For a second, I just stared at the screen. She had to know by now. She had to know I had pulled the rug out from under her, that her safety net was gone, her future with Alex was dead, and I was the one who did it. Still, she called. Still, she thought she could fix this. I exhaled slowly. Then, with an amused smirk, I picked up but didn't say a word. Jake! Her voice was small, breathless. Are you there? I let the silence stretch. A shaky inhale. I don't even know what to say, she whispered. I messed up. I know that. But I love you. There was again that word. Love. It meant nothing coming from her. She kept going, voice cracking. I don't care about Alex, okay? I was confused, but it's always been you. I chuckled. That's funny. He just told me the exact same thing about you. Silence. Sharp. Stinging. I could feel the panic creeping into her voice. Jake, where are you? I smirked. Oh, I'm standing right in front of your lover, letting him hear how desperate you sound. She sucked in a breath, and for a second, I thought she might hang up. But she didn't, because she still thought there was a way out. Jake, listen to me, she said quickly, her voice thick with tears. I know you're hurt, but we can fix this. We can talk. Just come home. Please. Home. The place where she had lied to my face, where she had texted Alex from our bed. I leaned against my car, looking up at the night sky. I had loved this woman. I had built my life around her, planned my future with her, and she had ruined it. But the difference between me and her? I didn't beg. I didn't lie. I finished things completely. I lowered my voice. Check your bank account, Emily. She hesitated. Then, after a few seconds, I heard her fumbling with her phone, her breath hitching as she pulled up the app. A choked noise escaped her lips. Jake, she whispered, voice trembling. What did you do? I smiled. Cold, unforgiving. I took back what's mine. Her breath quickened. But how am I supposed to? That's not my problem, sweetheart. A sob. Real this time. Jake, please, I don't have anywhere to go. I pushed off my car, unlocking the door, feeling nothing but satisfaction. I had nothing left to say, so I just hung up. I slid into my car, tossing my phone onto the passenger seat. I had spent months unknowingly living in a lie, and in a single night, I had burned it to the ground. Emily was broke, homeless, Desperate, Alex was done. His job, his entire career, was hanging by a thread. And me? I was free. I let the silence settle around me as I stared through the windshield, watching the lights of the city blur into a dull haze. Then my phone buzzed again. I exhaled sharply, expecting Emily. Again, but it wasn't her. It was Chloe. I picked up. "She's losing it," Chloe said immediately. Her voice edged with amusement. "She's called me 3 times already. She doesn't know where to go." I smirked. "Not my problem." Chloe laughed under her breath. "Nope, but I figured you'd want to hear the best part." I raised an eyebrow, which is a pause. Then a familiar ding, a text notification. I grabbed my phone and opened it. It was a screenshot from Emily to Alex, sent just minutes ago. "Emily, I love you. Please tell me we can fix this." I let out a slow, deep breath. Chloe hummed. "So much for, it was always you, huh?" I shook my head, laughing. She really couldn't help herself. Emily was a survivor. She didn't care about love, or loyalty, or honesty. She just cared about not being alone, not losing. And now, after spending the whole night begging me for another chance, she had immediately turned to Alex, just in case. I leaned back in my seat, gripping the wheel lightly. "You're really calm about this," Chloe mused. "I'm just not surprised," I admitted. "She's predictable." A beat of silence. Then Chloe sighed. "So what's next? You just gonna disappear and let her deal with the wreckage?" I thought about it. Thought about walking away, letting karma take over from here. But I wasn't done yet. Not with Alex. "You sent me the email confirmation, right?" I asked. "Yep," Chloe confirmed. "Corporate got the evidence." I'd say his days at that gym are numbered. I nodded to myself. Good. But I wasn't done. Not yet. I checked the time. Late, but not too late. Alex's gym had higher-ups. And lucky for me, I had direct contact with a few of them. I scrolled through my phone and found the right number. Then I hit call. It rang 3 times before someone answered. "Hello," a groggy male voice mumbled. "Mr. Davidson," I said smoothly. "This is Jake Carter. I believe you'll want to check your email. I sent something very important about one of your trainers." A pause. Then the sound of sheets rustling as he sat up. What?" he muttered, suddenly more awake. "I sent proof that one of your employees, Alex Rivers, has been engaging in highly unprofessional conduct, including an affair with a client and using your gym as his personal dating service." Silence. Then the faint sound of typing. I smirked, picturing him opening the email. A sharp inhale. This is bad. For him, yes. I agreed. A heavy exhale. "This is going straight to HR," he muttered. "If this is all true, it is." More silence. Then a low, dangerous chuckle. "I hate scandals," Davidson muttered. "Thanks for the heads up, Mr. Carter. We'll handle it from here." I hung up. Alex wasn't just losing his job. He was losing his entire reputation. And the best part? He had no idea it was coming. I leaned against the car, staring at my phone. Emily's last text remained unread, a string of desperate pleas. I didn't need to open it. I already knew how her story would end. She would cry. She would beg. She would move on. And I won. Or at least, I thought I did. I unlocked my phone one last time, ready to shut her number off forever. But before I could, another message appeared. Unknown number. Did you really think this was the end? A slow chill ran down my spine. I read the message again, clutching the phone tighter. Another call. Another message. Unknown number. Check your back pocket. I froze. A strange pressure settled in my chest, heavy and wrong. My breathing slowed as I gingerly reached behind me, My fingers brushed something small, something that wasn't there before. I pulled it out, a hotel key card, a familiar logo, the same hotel Emily met Alex at. I stared at it, my pulse racing. I wasn't there tonight. So how the hell did that end up in my pocket? Another call. One last message. Unknown number. See you soon, Jake. The screen flickered. Then, my phone went dead. Not dead. Not a glitch. Just gone. Somewhere in the silence. I swear, I heard someone laugh. And for the first time all night, I had a nagging feeling that it wasn't me pulling the strings. Someone else. And they were just getting started. Are you curious about what happened next?